Welcome into another edition of The Butcher versus the Spin Instructor, presented by LB's Meat Market. I'm Neil McCready, joined today by Greg Jones from LB's Meat Market and Campbell McCready, my daughter, of course, in Fayetteville, Arkansas. She's the Spin Instructor at Zen. Is it Zen Studios? Is that what it's called?
Zen Studio.
Zen Studio in Fayetteville. So good to have you both with us here on this December day when it's going to be 70 degrees. We were talking about this, Greg. It's going to be 74 in Fayetteville today, and yet they have snow in their forecast on Monday. So we've got December weather hitting us. We're going to get rain here in Oxford this weekend, and then a cold front behind it. So if you don't like the weather now, just hang tight. It's going to change. Before we get started, Greg, we were talking some seafood a minute ago. We're getting 2 weeks from Christmas, I guess. 2 weeks from today is Christmas Eve. So people are starting to get a lot of their Christmas Eve stuff together, their Christmas stuff together. What's going on there at LB's? I was telling you, we got some salmon there last night, got some mahi-mahi that I went ahead and grilled last night. It's going to be my lunch today. And got some of the pumpkin swordfish that I haven't had yet, but looking forward to it. So I know that you got a lot of stuff going on at LB's.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of fish coming in today. We always judge out on the fish freezer is on our inventory. So when the fish freezer gets low, we stock up on a bunch of fresh fish. So we've got plenty of tuna, redfish, snapper. I've got some scallops coming in. I got some amberjack coming in. So, basic Gulf fresh fish on every Thursday. So, a lot of people are calling in on Christmas orders already. A lot of standing rib roasts, a lot of beef tenderloins. I could also get, specialty items like the quail, the stuffed Cornish game hen and stuff like that. But oysters, I had one woman come in and order a whole box of oysters. So we could get a lot of different oysters. I can get the Murder Point from Alabama all the way up to the Savage Blonde from Prince Edward Island. So we have a broad range of oyster options. So always ask about certain things that we don't have.
Now, I know people are going to be wondering this because first thing that went through my mind, because I love oysters, but I don't have the tools to shuck them. Do you?
Yeah, I've got that. I've got a glove and a shucker that we have up there. So if you get some oysters, I'll hook you up with a glove and a utensil for you.
All right. Let's see. What else was I going to ask you? We got to talk about this. Campbell, you weren't there. So I told Greg I was at LB's over the weekend and I got some steaks, and I told Greg, hey, I heard about LB's on the podcast. And so he threw something in my sack. He threw a chicken jalapeno sausage with jardiniere. And I got to tell you, Greg, I'm a big fan of all y'all sausages. You know that. I've tried at least 10 of them. And I mean, other people will argue this and they'll fight, and that's okay, because a lot of people get really defensive about the spicy ribeye or just the ribeye. And I'm a big fan also, but that's the best one you've ever made.
Oh, yeah, that jardiniere really, kind of just gave it so much different. I mean, it's already had good flavor with the jalapeno, but with that jardiniere, it just adds so much. I mean, it's not too hot, but, it's got a good enough spice. I mean, everybody comes in and sees a label that says spicy ribeye or chicken jalapeno. They always get worried how spicy it is. I was like, we just, put flavor in there, to not let it be overbearing. But that jardiniere does have a little bit more kick, but oh man, it's so good, man. I should have gave you one of those the lamb sausage with the jardiniere. But we'll have that this weekend also. But that jardiniere is a game changer.
It was, Campbell, I think you would have even loved it. It's because it wasn't. Yeah, you hear jalapeno, and a lot of people freak out because they're worried it's going to be hot. It really wasn't hot at all. It just gave it a little flavor, but the jardiniere gave it more moisture, and it was fantastic. I loved it. Yeah. All right, before we get to picks and all that, Campbell, I know Campbell's kind of crazy about this, Greg. Campbell likes – everybody has their own food ticks. Campbell loves filet, but she doesn't like the idea of a beef tenderloin, even though that's the same thing. And I get it. I mean, I do. I kind of understand what it is she's saying. Tell Campbell about a standing rib roast, because I know a lot of people out there will hear that and think that's kind of complicated to cook and to carve and all of that. And yet I know that's a very popular Christmas dish.
Yeah, like I did one yesterday. It was a 4-bone standing rib roast. So what I did was I Frenched the bones out to where the bones are exposed and they look like it's really nice. So I cut the bones off of the ribeye, and then I'll trim it up and everything like that, and then I'll tie the bones back on to the roast. So that way, whenever you're cooking the standing rib roast, you just stand it on the bones and just let it indirect heat. And then once it gets to the 130 or 125 or however temperature you like on the beef, then you let it rest, clip those strings off, and you just literally have a whole roast that you can just slice steaks off and put them on a plate with maybe like a horseradish sauce or something like that. But it's just basically a ribeye trimmed out, very presentable to where you can roast it kind of like a brisket or a butt or something very similar. And but yeah, it's one of those popular ones. And of course, you know, the beef tenderloin is a filet mignon. You know, so it's got two separate names, but it's basically the same thing. But a whole beef tenderloin is going to be roughly right around 3 to 4 pounds when I trim it out and do the silver skin off. And you can either roast it whole and slice and put on on plates to where you're feeding a lot of people, or you can literally just cut 8 to 9 ounce to 10 ounce steaks off that loin and cook individual steaks off of it.
All right, so Campbell, you'll have some choices to make when you come home when we get ready for Christmas.
Okay.
All right.
Well, anything but a beef tenderloin.
I get it. Everybody has their own food ticks. I understand. All right, so to the picks we go. We've put off. You both did really well last week, Greg. You had a winning record. You went 5-4. You kind of snapped out of your slump a little bit. Campbell did one game better. I can't remember which game it was that she got. I think, it was Arkansas. Arkansas lost but covered the line. The line was 3. Arkansas lost by 2, so she got the win there. So Campbell went 6-3. For the season, Greg is 43-47. Campbell is a remarkable 60-30. This is it's bizarre. It's a 17-game lead. Going into week 13 of the season. So I don't know what your strategy is this week, Greg. It's just probably just kind of
I've got my unlucky lucky jersey on, so that the Tigers never win whenever I wear this jersey. So like I said, I'm pulling out all the spots. I've got I pulled out American Pharaoh, Triple Crown winner, no luck. I mean, I'm my green shirt, I wore a Coach Kiffin. I'm desperate here.
All right, so we'll start we'll start in the Big Ten. Wisconsin, a 1-point underdog at Iowa. This game, I believe it's at 11 a.m. I never could find an exact time on it. I'll find it. But I think it's 11 a.m. on Fox. I think Wisconsin and Iowa, the Hawkeyes giving a point. Who wants to go first?
Up to Greg.
All right, I'm going to take Iowa. I like Iowa. I'm not going to say Wisconsin's not a bad team, but they've had 2 bad losses to a decent Northwestern team and, an upstart Indiana team. And, who's not to love that Indiana team? They play with so much. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just I think it's everybody's new favorite 2020, COVID football season team. So, hats off to Indiana on a good program and a good season. But I like Iowa here for some strange reason. I'm going to take the Hawkeyes here and hope that I'm right.
You mentioned Indiana, and one of the things that strikes me is that I don't – and probably it's because his buyout is insane, and I don't think he wants to leave. I think he'd like to stay at Indiana. But you watch the Indiana kids interact with Tom Allen, and that's genuine. They love him.
Yeah. I mean, that they were saying what better recruiting video to post other than this, simple interview after a big win. And then, what's great about that video was after they, panned off to they put up the screen to where they snap losing streaks from Penn State, all these teams that they've just gotten massacred from. So, I mean, it's a good story, and it's good to see.
All right, Campbell, you got Iowa and Wisconsin, the Hawkeyes giving a point.
I'm agreeing with him here. I'm going with Iowa. I don't really know anything about these two, as I don't really know anything about any of them, to be honest. But I know Iowa's good, and you are kind of a Iowa fan.
Go Hawkeyes. Look at that.
Yes.
So that's what my pick is.
All right, so got the helmet back on the bookcase. We're both picking the Hawkeyes. All right, Alabama, the top-ranked team in the country, just destroyed LSU. My God, it was as ugly as I thought it would be, which was actually kind of beautiful. I enjoyed watching it. Alabama giving 31 points at Arkansas this game, 11 a.m. You can watch it on ESPN. Campbell, I don't think it's going to be a particularly good day for your Razorbacks, but you guys have had a good season. You've gone from being awful to respectable in a year. So congratulations to the Hogs. And if you get blown out by Alabama, it's no shame. Just about everybody does. What do you think? 31 points is the line.
That's a lot of points. I'm gonna you take the points if you don't think they're gonna win by that much.
That's right. You're taking Arkansas and you get 31 points. Look at that. 13 weeks in and we're picking it up.
Okay, well that's what I'm doing. Because I'm not gonna pick against Arkansas no matter what.
All right, Greg. She's taking the 31. Are you gonna lay them?
No, I mean the tide's going to roll here. I mean this might be covered by halftime. I mean just Alabama's a good football team. They always have and always will be. It is what it is. But yeah, I like Alabama to roll here. Let's say maybe 55-10. Sounds good to me.
Okay, so Greg's going to lay 31 points. For the record, I'm laying points too. It's nothing against Arkansas. Just it's Alabama's freaking amazing. All right, Georgia. They head to Missouri. Georgia is a 13-point favorite. This game also at 11 a.m. You can see it on the SEC network. Greg, what do you think?
I'm going to go with the home dog here. I mean, Missouri's not, I think that's a big number. I was kind of expecting maybe 9.5, but I'll take the extra, points there. So I don't know. I'm going to go with Missouri here, and hopefully JT Daniels forgets how to play football again or something like that.
All right, Campbell, what do you think? Georgia giving 13 at Missouri.
I'm going with Georgia. I know Missouri beat Arkansas with the last-second field goal. I did not watch that game. I don't really know what I was doing, to be honest. But, yep, that's what I'm going with. I'm sure people here are bitter. I can't say I am because I literally did not watch the game at all. But
it was a great game.
It was.
We talked about it last week. We said this has a chance to be a really entertaining game, and it was. It went back and forth, back and forth. Arkansas's quarterback couldn't play, and they put in the backup, Jefferson, who's from here in Mississippi, at Sardis, Mississippi, and KJ played really a great football game. I was super happy for him. I remember talking to him some in recruiting, and he's a great kid. And so I was happy for him. And listen, we talked about this both, and it's the same thing at Ole Miss. You see the difference in coaching in a year. Ole Miss is a completely different program with this coaching staff, and the same applies to Missouri and Arkansas. Those were two teams that last year they were crappy, and this year they're not. Missouri's actually fairly good, and Arkansas's right there on the cusp of having a really special season. They've lost close games now to Missouri and LSU, and who else did they lose a close one to? Auburn. I mean, they could very easily have a completely different record. All right, so Campbell's going to take Georgia, and Greg's going to take Missouri. We go to the ACC now. North Carolina getting 3 points at Miami. What do you think?
who's starting, me?
Yeah, you can go first, Campbell. Sure.
Okay. Well, again, I don't know anything about these, but I know that Miami's pretty good, and you said that someone that works at on North Carolina's team doesn't like you.
Yeah, Phil Longo, the offensive coordinator at North Carolina. I don't think he likes me much at all.
So I'm going to go with Miami for that reason, I guess.
All right, so Campbell's going to take the Hurricanes, lay the points. Greg, what do you think?
I'm going to have to agree with her. I mean, Phil Longo is, not on my Christmas card list. Yeah, we're going. We like Miami here. I'm going to have to agree with her.
Ole Miss had Jordan Ta'amu, DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, Dawson Knox, Greg Little, all on the same offense.
And Scotty, wasn't Wilkins on it? No.
I can't remember where the Jordan overlapped with those guys or not, but there's a lot of NFL talent on that team. Javon Patterson, who would probably be playing in the NFL today had it not been for some knee injuries once he got to Indianapolis. So yeah, it's remarkable that didn't work. All right, so you both take Miami in that one. I think you're both on to something. Tennessee, at least this game, as of Thursday morning, this game is scheduled to be played. Tennessee is a 14-point favorite at Vanderbilt. This game, a 3 p.m. game Central Time on the SEC Network. Greg, you're up.
Can I have a half gallon of my favorite bourbon so I can watch this? This is. You could. This is one of those 800 one down here. If you're watching this game, seek help.
Seek help.
Wow, what a terror! For Tennessee to be favored by 14 points is, I guess Vanderbilt is really bad, but what a disastrous game. But I guess Tennessee will blow them out, and Jeffrey Pruitt will save his job for another year because of the momentum of the big Vanderbilt victory. Maybe that might be the case, but I just can't take Vanderbilt. They're just a hot disaster right now. Okay,
so Greg's laying the 14. Campbell, what do you think?
I'm agreeing with him, so I don't really think there's much else to say on that one.
All right, we skipped over one that I meant to get to. This is a game that I think is one of the coolest games in all of sports. No matter what, whether you like football, don't like football, whoever you like, the Army-Navy game is special. It's cool, and normally it's in Philadelphia. This year, because of COVID, I'm so sick of those words, because of COVID, but this year, because of COVID, the game is going to be played at West Point, which will be cool. And Navy is getting 5.5 points. Army favored by 5.5. Campbell, you're up on the Army-Navy game. You ever watched the Army-Navy game?
No.
Okay, well, you should. This is a game that everybody should watch because these are the young people who have signed up to go into military service, and they're really cool. And these two teams try to destroy each other for an entire football game. And then when it's over, the moment it's over, it becomes complete mutual respect. They go sing each other's song and the whole deal. It's a really cool spectacle. I absolutely love it. And I always watch this game. I always think it's cool. So, Campbell, you're up. Army-Navy.
Well, for one, there was a boy, I think in the class that graduated in 2020 at Oxford, that he committed to play at Navy.
Yeah.
Like 2 years before he graduated, actually, I think. But
he was a quarterback then, right?
Yes. His name's John
Mayer.
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah. And he's a year younger than me. But I know you have a friend that coaches at Army and sends stuff to Carson.
Yeah.
So
you're really you're conflicted here, my God.
I know.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with Army just because you have a friend and he sends stuff to Carson, and I don't really have another reason. But
Coach Nuke, he's awesome. He's an Ole Miss guy, Ole Miss fan. He's up there in West Point, part of the staff up there. Or I think he just recently retired, but super guy. So, Greg, she's going to take Army and lay 5.5.
Well, I'm just we have to keep this rivalry going. I'm gonna have to take Navy. We'll have to go on different sides. I don't have a dog in this race, but I do like to watch it. Like you were saying, you almost get kind of chills with the whole game going on, and then it stops, and then they go and sing each other's anthem, and it's kind of it's a real cool sporting probably event to go to. I would think if you could get to go to it. So
it's on my bucket list. I'm going to go one day. I'm going to figure out a way to go if good Lord willing. I think it's a fantastically cool game. I'd love to watch it.
Yeah, for sure. So with that being said, we'll take the Navy. We'll take the midshipmen, and hopefully it's a good game. It's usually a low scoring game. They really get after it usually.
Remember Village People in the Navy? You remember that, Campbell? You ever heard of the Village People, Campbell?
No, what is that?
It's the YMCA.
YMCA. You never heard of that?
I know what that is.
That song was performed by the Village People, and then they had they had Macho Man.
Yeah, they had an Indian, they had a sailor,
Police officer. Wasn't there a police officer?
Campbell's like, all right, guys, y'all are too old for me. Let's skip on.
I know what that song is, but I don't know what y'all are talking about.
The Village People came out when I was in like the 5th grade, I think. 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, somewhere like that. And they were the thing, man. For like a full year, the Village People were it. Wow, which speaks volumes to my childhood, probably, and yours too. So anyway, LSU, God almighty, LSU 23.5-point underdog at Florida. This game at 6:00 Central on ESPN. I don't know if you guys heard, LSU has self-imposed a bowl ban on them this season. They're 3-5, making a mockery of the entire NCAA process. Who's up? Is it?
I'll take it.
All right, go go for it.
Well, they don't call it red stick for nothing. So there's a lot of red sticks going on, going down now right now in Baton Rouge. I think Florida is just going to have a field day. I don't see why not. Whenever you can get a team like LSU down and how they acted towards, winning every game last year, like they're going to do it for the next 20 to 30 years, which was definitely not the case. So I see Florida hurting them pretty bad, kind of like the Alabama. And, maybe 45-10, something like that. I mean, that's I think that's a reasonable score. And I just think that LSU's a hot disaster down there.
Yeah, so Greg's going to lay 23.5, Campbell. What do you think?
I'm agreeing with him. I know LSU's a disaster, so I'm going Florida.
Yeah, you can not keep up with it at all and know that LSU is a disaster. And there's rumors that stuff's coming out later this week that is going to be even more damning about what's happened with their program. I hate to see it; it makes me sad, but I'm gonna somehow get through it. The whole laundering money through a children's hospital for a football program. If all they, I tweeted this last night. If all they get for that is a 1-year bowl ban in a season where they weren't going to go to a good bowl anyway, that can't happen. All right, last game, Auburn heads to Mississippi State. Auburn is a 7.5-point favorite in Starkville. This game at 6:30 on the SEC network. Campbell, you're up.
Well, I picked based on my college visits, so we're going with our Auburn here. I think I picked them last time. I'm not sure.
You missed on Auburn last week. You picked Auburn to beat Texas A&M, and they did not.
Well, I think they'll beat Mississippi State, so we're going with Auburn here. All
right, so she's going to lay 7.5. Big spot for Gus Malzahn and the Tigers. There's a lot of rumblings on the plains about change coming, Greg.
Yeah, I've been on that Auburn, going to be paying Gus Malzahn for a hot minute, trained for a hot minute now. So I'm not going to say Mississippi State's going to beat Auburn and LSU in the same year. I mean, that would be kind of no. I like Auburn here. I mean, whenever Gus Malzahn's job's on the line, somehow, some way, they play a really good game and win by 2 or 3 touchdowns. So I think this number's a little too low for it. So I'm gonna go with Auburn.
All right, so those picks are in. I had hoped that this was going to be a weekend that we were going to be covering Ole Miss and Texas A&M, but that game got COVIDed. So Ole Miss is scheduled to play next weekend in Baton Rouge. I'm cautiously optimistic right now that game's going to happen. I'll tell you this. If Vanderbilt and Tennessee happens, I start feeling a lot better about Ole Miss and LSU because I think that's the league saying, hey, go play. So anyway, let's see. Before we get out of here, Campbell, what do you have planned for the weekend?
I study for finals, so I have 3 finals next week, so I will be doing that.
Well, good luck in that endeavor, certainly. Greg, what's going on with you? What's going on at LB's?
Well, just, about to go unload the truck and get it stocked up for the weekend, get that fresh fish out so where people can come and get it later this afternoon. We'll have the lane train as always, and then the clipboard special on Sunday, which is $2 off. I don't know. Have you looked at the poll results on that on that term. You know,
No, I saw where you put out a special and people took it literally.
literally, Richard called me. He goes, "Hey, man, you know, I'm back at the house." He goes, "Hey, are we giving away free steaks today?" And I was like, "Oh, wow." I was like, that they took that really serious, you know, and everything that's said on Twitter is absolutely the truth. There's no false, you know. So, anyway, with that being said, Richard said that 2 Tahoes showed up and 4 frat guys got out and literally just showed up and was like, "Hey, we're here to pick up our steaks. We voted for y'all." And that was the only thing they wanted, was just those free steaks and walk out. And I'm like, well, you know, so I was just pulling out the kitchen sink on it because I was down 80% to 20, you know, you know, but do I want to give away, you know, over 600 steaks for, to win a competition? No, I'm good.
A competition with no prize? No, that's
with no prize or anything like that. It's
that's
just,
what I tell people about
anyway.
Twitter all the time. I'm like, people are talking about Twitter. I'm like, you know, the thing about Twitter, and I play on Twitter and I have fun on Twitter, but I've never made a cent off Twitter. So you gotta be, you know, you can't worry about Twitter as much as some people worry about.
Yeah,
Twitter.
I mean, I strictly do Twitter for, you know, publicity for my business. You know, when Lane Kiffin retweeted, you know, that special, I mean, we literally got 170,000 impressions on just one thing that you know, pick up your phone and listen. So, you know, Twitter has that love-hate thing going on, but, you know, I try to stay off of it and only just try to promote my business as much as possible.
Speaking of, how can people get in touch with you this weekend?
You know, just always call the store, 662-259-2999. You know, that's the best way. We're taking orders for Christmas orders. You know, I'm probably going to be closing early on Christmas Eve, just kind of, you know, trying to get out there and enjoy our time with the family and not being at work. So, but yeah, no, we'll take Christmas orders for a hot minute. And if there's anything particular you want, something like those oysters or something like that quail that we've been getting, or something exclusive that you want to change it up this Christmas, we can get that taken care of for you guys.
Okay, super. Both of you have a great weekend. Campbell, I know you're exhausted from spin and study and stuff. Get you some rest and good luck with the studying this weekend, and looking forward to getting you home next week. So until next week, that does it for the Butcher versus the Spin Instructor, brought to you by LB's Meat Market. We'll be back next week with what hopefully is the championship week, and also Ole Miss, LSU, and other games. And we'll see whether Greg can make up some ground here in this competition against Campbell. Until next time, you guys take care.